Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. Kicking straight off with what's new in the world of games this week. Elite Dangerous Gamma Test is now open. Basically this is the finished game. Almost the entire galaxy is now open. You can go to Earth, well, if you can get that far. And all of the various different starting packages, depending on what you've paid for, whether you were in the Kickstarter or you were an alpha backer, are available to start a fresh game. And none of this progress is going to get wiped. This is going to carry on into the full release of the game on the 16th of December. You've got the Pirate package here, for example, where you start off in a combat-equipped Cobra Mark III with a cargo scanner, loaded for bear. Unfortunately, you're in a very, very dangerous system with no law enforcement, and you have a bounty on your head. The Independent Trader. Pretty much, this is just recreating the original Elite game. You start off in the Lave system, in a Cobra Mark III. You can take advantage of the Explorer package, set up for exploration, basically, with some of the more advanced scanner modules, right on the edge of explored space, so right out in the middle of nowhere. The Kickstarter packages, Federation, New Commander, Imperial Bounty Hunter, Federal Trader, all of the Kickstarter packages start off at the Pilots Federation Founders System in Jameson Orbital Station. People who've played the original Elite game, these kind of names are going to be ringing bells in all of your heads. Unfortunately, not everything is rosy in the world of Elite. There was a big fuss kicked off last week when a certain announcement was made in the Elite newsletter. Right from the very start, Frontier Developments had promised that there were going to be 3 different ways that you could play Elite Dangerous. You could play it as a full-blown, persistent universe multiplayer game, or you could play it in solo play mode, which was exactly the same as the multiplayer version, except there were no other players in it. It was just you. Everybody else was an NPC. Or you could play it in offline mode. Well, last week, I hesitate to say they announced that offline mode was no longer going to be an option. They sort of phrased it in a very roundabout, bullshit, marketing, PR style, oh look at this exciting opportunity we're giving you to no longer be able to play in offline mode kind of way. And a lot of people got very, very upset about that, and with good reason. Because the idea of being able to play a game like this in offline mode without having to connect to the internet was obviously very attractive for a lot of people. Well, that option is no longer there. Now you might be thinking, well, you know, who the hell plays in offline mode? Well, you'd be surprised. When I was in the Navy, deployed away from home at sea for 6 months, you couldn't do online gaming. You know, it was just not possible, wasn't an option. And a game like this is absolutely ideal for people who are away from home, for example, in the military, deployed in the US Army to Iraq for a year, who don't have access to internet connections. This one game can keep you going throughout all your time off when you're in that kind of situation. This is not the kind of game that has an ending. You know, you can continue playing all the time. People in those sort of circumstances, and people who do not have reliable internet connections, this was the absolutely ideal game for them. Never need to buy another game again. Just play this in offline mode forever. The game has no end. Well, that option is no longer there. And so a lot of people got very upset and were very vocal about it. And having been in this sort of situation myself, you know, having been in the military and deploying and being away from home at sea for up to 6 months at a time, I remember on one occasion, I can't remember exactly which game it was. It was a Ubisoft game, I know that. I think it was one of the Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six games. There was no multiplayer option in that game. I remember that pretty clearly, which is the reason why I specifically bought it, so that I could play it while I was away at sea. And the very first time I tried to load it up, it told me it wouldn't let me launch up because it couldn't establish an internet connection. It was a single-player game. It was just absurd. I was very pissed off with Ubisoft over that one. And, you know, if you're in this kind of situation with Elite Dangerous, then you do have an option. Because Frontier Developments is a UK company, under UK law, you are perfectly entitled to demand a refund if you bought into Elite Dangerous on the promise that it was going to be available for offline play, and that option has now been removed. If, on the other hand, you just wanted to play Elite Dangerous as a single-player game and you're not that concerned about whether it's offline or online, then nothing's really changed there. Solo play does require an internet connection, but it's a very, very low bandwidth internet connection. It basically is just there to trickle stream commodity market data to keep the market prices in the galaxy as up to date for you as they are for everybody else who's playing the game online. So solo play is still an option if you just don't want to play, with other players and run the risk of the kind of griefing that is probably going to happen in the multiplayer version. I mean, let's be honest here. A lot of people don't like playing multiplayer gaming because of multiplayer gamers. That's just the way it is. If griefing can happen, griefing will happen. If that's your concern, play in single-player mode. You still require a low bandwidth internet connection. If, on the other hand, having to connect to the internet is a deal breaker for you where this game is concerned, ask for a refund. You do have that option. Meanwhile, for the rest of us, the game's now in the gamma test. What the hell's the gamma test? Well, it's not really a test phase at all. That's just what they're calling it. It's basically early access. It's a head start on people who got into the whole thing late, unlocking all the various different packages that you've paid for in advance and allowing you to start the game a couple of weeks ahead of everybody else. So there'll probably be a video on this coming sooner or later. Speaking of space games, this isn't a space game, this is World of Tanks. But speaking of space games, Fractured Space is now in early access. It went in early access on Steam on the 20th of November. I've been playing. I've put a video up of me playing. It's really, really good. Obviously already put a video up prior to that and mentioned it in previous episodes of Mingles with Jingles. A video actually at the development studio filming the developers as they were running through one of the final playtests before the game code was locked down and sent to Steam in order to be published in the early access build. And Edge Case Games and the CEO James Brooksby was very, very generous in giving me 100 Steam gift codes for the founders packages of Fractured Space to give away to you guys as part of the whole celebration for 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. So yay for free stuff. But things are never quite that simple, are they? To be completely fair, the way that I went about giving those codes away was suboptimal. There were better ways of doing it. In case you're not aware of what I'm talking about, with 100 codes, what I didn't want to do was individually email, run some sort of lottery system and then have to sit there for hours individually emailing each winner with their code. I mean, that would have been better for you guys. It wouldn't have been great for me, however. It would have taken hours. And I'm really lazy. So I did the lazy thing, and I just put the codes in the video description, which turned out to be a terrible idea. And it was a terrible idea for a number of reasons, not least of which because any video I upload hits 300 views within the first minute of the video being uploaded. So conceivably, within the first minute of that video being uploaded, those codes were gone. And if you happen to be one of the roughly half the people in the world who happened to be asleep at the time the video was uploaded, then you had absolutely no chance of winning. Even if you were up and watching my YouTube channel for a new video at the exact same second the video was uploaded and made public, with 100 codes just dumped into the description of the video, you had absolutely no way of knowing which codes had been claimed and which ones hadn't. So there could have been 30 codes still available for grabs, but you had 100 to choose from. You only have a 1 in 3 chance of picking the right one. And something I wasn't aware of, if you input too many previously claimed codes at once into Steam, it bars you out and stops you from making any further attempts. And somebody was actually lucky enough, after the video had had 25,000 views, to find a code that still hadn't been claimed. It was just a terrible way of doing it, and I really didn't think the consequences through, and it pissed a lot of people off, and for that I'm sorry. I won't be doing things that way again. This is the first time I've done anything of this kind of nature. I'm going to make mistakes, but hopefully I learn from them. So that was the second giveaway that I've done. The first one was the Amazon gift vouchers. Now that ended yesterday on Sunday. The winners have all been chosen using a random lottery system. 21,000 people entered. The overwhelming majority from the USA, just short of 6,000 people from the USA, one person from Namibia. Fantastic. Wow, somebody in Namibia watches me. Okay, great. The winners have already been notified. The gift vouchers have been emailed out, and just on the off chance, because not all of them have been claimed yet, But just on the off chance that you happen to watch my YouTube channel more than you check your own email, then your names are appearing on screen right now. Check your email. Gift voucher for Amazon is enclosed. Congratulations to the winners. The second giveaway was the Fractured Space gift codes. Not particularly well organised, but 100 of you did end up getting a free copy of the Founders Edition of Fractured Space on Steam. The third giveaway starts today, and again, like the Amazon gift codes, it's a random lottery which you can sign up for. Link in the video description. Also, details on my Facebook page. I posted the details on the Facebook page yesterday, just so people could see what the prizes were going to be. I'll repost it again today, now that the actual prize draw has started. It's going to run for 6 days, and the prizes, well, I spent most of yesterday at the Museum of Naval Firepower in Gosport in Hampshire, and the reason I was there was not just because it's a great museum and I haven't actually been there before, but also because they were running a military fair, and I popped along to bag some goodies to give away to you guys as part of the third 300,000 subscriber giveaway. The first prize is an original copy of the 2-volume History of the Royal Tank Regiment by Captain Basil Liddell Hart, published in 1956. Those of you who know a few things about tanks might recognise the name Captain Basil Liddell Hart. He's a British Army officer who wrote a doctrine on the employment and use of tanks in modern battle, way before the Second World War kicked off. Not a lot of people listened to him in Britain, but they listened to him in Germany. You may have heard of a certain German tank commander, the Inspector General of the Panzer Forces, General Heinz Guderian, the father of the Blitzkrieg, heavily influenced by Liddell Hart's ideas. Book is The History of the Royal Tank Regiment by Captain B.H. Liddell Hart. Comes in 2 volumes. It's a fascinating read. I really didn't want to give it away. I wanted to keep it. But I've got 6 days to get it read before I have to post it to somebody. Second prize. It's a copy of the 2nd volume of Panzertruppen, which is a complete guide to the creation and combat of all of Germany's tank forces from 1943 to 1945. Now, it's the 2nd volume. There is a 1st volume out there somewhere, but I couldn't find it. Third prize is a hardcap copy. Hardcap? I've forgotten how to speak English. A hardback copy of Jack Speak, which is the guide to British naval slang. It's written by Surgeon Commander Rick Jolly, who served in the Falklands War, with illustrations by the late great Tug Wilson. There will also be 4 runners-up prizes who will each receive a gift from the Museum of Naval Firepower's gift shop. I have 2 sets of replica World War II Navy documents and World War I Army documents, and a pair of World War II aircraft identification posters. I'll be signing all of the prizes with a personal message to whoever wins. For this reason, it is vitally important that if you are going to enter, and by the time this video is up, the contest should be up and running, I must have your postal address and your name so that I can post the prize to you. This isn't something you can download from the internet. So in the 6 days that this contest is going to be running, plenty of opportunity for you to submit an entry. It will not let you submit an entry unless you provide your full name and your postal address, because the last thing that I want is to tell somebody that they've won and then not be able to post their prize out to them. I will of course be signing all of these prizes. There's another reason why I need your full name, so I can actually personalise the message to you. So there's that. 6 days this contest is going to be running. By the time this video is up and live, the contest will be open. Details, video description, also on my Facebook page. I'll be updating my Facebook page every couple of days with the contest details, just in case somebody misses it. So there's that. I'm going to be doing a video probably up tomorrow, just showing you exactly what it is that you're going to win if you enter this part of the contest. The books in particular, well, certainly the 1st and 2nd prizes. I mean, these are not the kind of glossy, full of photographs books that you have lying around on your coffee table, you know, so that your guests can pore through them and admire all the coloured pictures. These are real historical resources. They're full of technical details and action reports from panzer regiments that saw action on the Eastern Front. And I mean, these are real. It's a real treasure trove of historical information in these books. They're definitely not light reading. So video coming up very, very soon, showing you exactly what it is that you stand a chance of winning if you choose to enter this part of the whole 300,000 subscriber giveaway thing. Not the only thing that I got when I was at the military affair. I did manage to get myself something as well. It was a Intercontinental Arms Super Dakota 44 Magnum single action revolver, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's deactivated, of course. I mean, you know, this is Britain, not America, unfortunately. I did a bit of research. I mean, the guy that sold it to me, and there was a huge array of, sadly, deactivated weapons available for sale at this military affair, as well as uniforms and books and documents, and it was just, oh, it was fantastic. I'm definitely going to another one of these the first chance I get. Now, the thing is, the dealer that sold it to me, I paid £295 for this deactivated single-action Magnum. And the dealer that sold it to me wasn't entirely sure what it was. He thought it was a replica of some description. Well, I've done a bit of research and I've looked it up, and it turns out that Intercontinental Arms didn't actually manufacture their own pistols. They were based out of Culver City in California back in the 1950s and 60s, and they imported a lot of weapons from Switzerland and Italy. And this particular Super Dakota 44 Magnum was actually made in Italy, and it was made to compete with the Ruger Blackhawk, and only a very few thousand of them were made, so it turns out it's actually pretty rare. Now, I have absolutely no idea how much it's worth, but you know, there's plenty of internet detectives out there, and I know for a fact that a lot of my American subscribers are well into their firearms. Dale Royster, I'm talking about you. So, and bearing in mind that it is deactivated, it cannot be actually fired. But I'll be interested to know if any of you can find out just exactly how much this thing's worth. I mean, did I get a good bargain or not? I'll toss some pictures of this thing in as well. I mean, show you everything that I got from Military Affair when I'm doing the whole video showing what the prizes are. So you can have a good drool over this absolutely beautiful walnut-stocked brass and blued steel 7.5-inch barrel single-action Magnum revolver. It is absolutely lovely. I was contemplating giving it away as the first prize, but, well, the Royal Mail tend to shit themselves if you try to send firearms through the post. And also, anybody can enter this contest. You could enter this contest if you were 14 years old, and if you win the first prize and a bloody revolver turns up in the post, your parents will probably have a word or two to say to me, so unfortunately I'm just going to have to keep it for myself. I know, it's a great sacrifice, but I am just thinking of you guys. All of which, in a sort of roundabout way, brings me on to the next thing that I wanted to talk about this week. Short version, I'm going to start taking a day off every week. Yes, I know, how dare I? Long version, I've been doing this for coming up to 2.5 years now, and I never have a regular day off every week. I'm putting a video up every day. Every day. I missed one yesterday because I was up late all night. Didn't have a good reason for being up late all night. I was playing that bloody World of Warcraft. Oh, it's like digital crack, it really is. The wheels are starting to come off on World of Warcraft, though. Now that I've reached level 100 on one character, and like level 91, level 92 on a few others, I'm starting to see the grind again. And it was obvious that was going to happen. But I'll probably start getting bored of it, because once you hit level 100, well, okay, great, now what? And yeah, sure, there's plenty to do, but it's the same old that you were doing when you were at level 90 in World of Warcraft in the previous expansion, level 85 before that, and so on and so on. And since I stopped raiding in World of Warcraft years ago, because it was just sucking my life away, and now I'm very much a casual player, it's really the leveling up process and the seeing the new things in the new expansion that I find interesting, rather than the actual end game. So now that I've reached level 100, I'm kind of, yeah, okay, what now? So I'll probably start getting bored with World of Warcraft again very, very soon. But Saturday night, when I should have been getting some sleep before going to the Museum of Naval Firepower's Military Affair, I was up all night playing World of Warcraft. And that's basically the main reason why there wasn't a video yesterday. It wasn't for a good reason, it was because I was just absolutely bloody exhausted when I got back from the museum, so I went to bed. At the same time, it occurred to me, I do not have a day off every week. I have been putting a video up almost every day for the last 2.5 years. I've been working harder at this YouTube thing than I ever did when I was in the Navy, actually working for a living. Now that I've retired, I'm actually doing more hours in a day. Well, more hours in a week, certainly, because I don't get weekends off anymore. And it occurred to me as I was dragging my exhausted arse into bed last night, very, very early, after having not put a video up, that I've got to start taking a day off every week. I mean, I don't have to, but I could. It wouldn't be a great stretch for me to continue carrying on the way I have been for the last 2.5 years, but I enjoyed taking a day off and staying up all night and playing stupid computer games and then going to a museum and spending money at a military affair. And it's something that I never do anymore. So this is a very sort of long-winded way of my saying that I am going to start taking a day off every week. It'll be Sunday, basically. There'll be no video going up on Sunday. I mean, I started yesterday completely by accident, but I'm going to carry on doing that. So don't expect videos on Sundays from here on in. Now, of course, because I do the video the day in advance, that means I get Saturdays off, so yay. And I do realise, of course, that, I'm making all these plans and promises to myself that, okay, I'm going to get Saturday off every week from now on. So next week I can go to the Royal Artillery Museum at Fort Nelson. That'll be fantastic. I haven't been there in a while. I know I'm not going to do it. I'll be playing Elite Dangerous all day. Or I'll be playing World of Tanks. Or I'll be playing War Thunder. I'll be sitting in front of the computer doing what it is I normally do when I'm sitting in front of the computer and I'm not doing a video. The difference is, most days I don't actually have that much time to sit in front of the computer playing games because I'm doing videos. So, even if nothing really goes according to plan and I still don't get out of the house and go and visit places, I will still at least have an entire day every week where I can just concentrate on doing nothing but playing games and doing videos of them and putting them up on YouTube. So, there's that. Oh, actually, speaking of Elite Dangerous, I was playing on the Elite Dangerous Gamma test last night, and you may or may not have noticed my name in Elite Dangerous is not actually Commander Jingles. That name has been taken. So, and I know, here's the thing, I know what you little buggers are like, right? I particularly from experience in War Thunder, although it doesn't happen nearly as much anymore, but I do know that there's a lot of you out there who just cannot resist the temptation that when you see me in an online game, you just have to try and kill me. It's one of the occupational hazards of doing what I do for a living. But here's the thing. Because my name is not Commander Jingles in Elite Dangerous, it's Commander Kessler. I mean, it's up there on screen in the video, so it's not like I'm trying to hide it. But because my name is not Commander Jingles, because somebody else has the name Commander Jingles, that guy has no idea what he's let himself in for. Good luck. I've had messages from War Thunder players who have names that are just similar to Jingles, right? Complaining about the amount of attention they get from the enemy team whenever they have a game of War Thunder. And that's just people who have names similar to Jingles. This guy is driving around in Elite Dangerous, and he is Commander Jingles. He has absolutely no idea what's coming. And I think that's hilarious. Sucker. Oh, incidentally, unrelated subject. When I was at the Museum of Naval Firepower yesterday, I met a bunch of subscribers. I'd obviously posted on Facebook, and I might have mentioned in a previous episode of Mingles with Jingles, but I've definitely updated Facebook to let people know that I was going to be at the museum yesterday, and a couple of people came down to say hello, shake my hand, get the picture taken, and so on and so on. One guy brought me a piece of a tank. No, really. One guy brought me a piece of a tank. It was unbelievable. I'd actually met him before. There were two of them. I can't remember their names, I'm really sorry. But I'd met them at Tankfest at Bovington last year. They had gone along as reenactors, British Army Desert Rats, the British 8th Army. And I met them there at Tankfest, and they came along to the museum. And he brought me a piece of a tank. It was a section of track from a Mark III Churchill. Unfortunately, and I felt really bad about it, because he'd brought this all the way down from wherever the hell it was he'd come from. I just couldn't accept it. It was huge. I would have had nowhere to put it. So we suggested that he should sell it on eBay. Tank starter kit. Build your own tank. Here's a section of track to get you started. Anyway, coming to the end of the video. And I didn't answer any questions in Mingles with Jingles last week, so even though I've spent forever talking about everything other than answering questions, I'm going to answer at least one question. And this week's Mingles with Jingles, before we finish, this is from Me Gecko. who is a 21-year-old physics college student from Croatia. And he's actually got quite a personal question. It turns out he has the opportunity to apply for a scholarship to go and study and work, and it's all going to be paid for in Japan. Now, he's a big fan of Japan, he's always wanted to go there. And he says that, well, in his opinion at least, Croatia's not a great place to live. He can't wait to leave. He's got this opportunity for a fully paid scholarship to go and study, live and work in Japan, but he doesn't know whether or not he should apply for it. It is a big step. I mean, it's a huge step, and there aren't many people in Japan who speak Croatian. And he didn't specify in his message, but I'm relatively sure he doesn't speak Japanese either. So, you know, it's a huge step into the unknown. All sorts of things that could go wrong. And he wanted to know, if I was in his position, what would I do? And by all means, feel free to chip in the comments with your own advice. What would you do if you were in his position? Speaking personally, you'd have to be insane to not take advantage of this opportunity. There are so many things that you have done and will do in life that you're going to regret. Okay? Trust me. It's going to happen. That you absolutely, definitely do not want to spend your life also regretting the things that you didn't do. You can't spend your life sitting around never doing anything because you're frightened of what might go wrong. I mean, you know, if that was the case, nobody would ever get married. Statistically speaking, most marriages don't work out, but that doesn't stop people from getting married. You know, you got to have a little bit of faith and trust that things might work out. Yeah, sure, it might all go horribly wrong, but they might not. And you don't want to be sitting in the position 30 years from now, having a miserable life, thinking to yourself, what if I'd gone to Japan? You know, remove the doubt, remove all possibility of doubt, and find out. Go to Japan. You don't want to be sitting around 30 years from now regretting all the things that you didn't do. There's going to be plenty of things that you did do that you are going to regret, without adding to it the misery of not knowing what would have happened if you had gone ahead and done all the things that you could have done, but were too afraid to try. And even if it does all go wrong and it doesn't work out the way you hoped it might, at least you had a holiday in Japan. And on that bombshell, that's it for this week's Mingles with Jingles. Hope you've enjoyed the video. And good luck to everybody entering the various different giveaway contests. It's fantastic reaching 300,000 subscribers. And it's great being able to give something back to you guys who have made it all possible. As always, folks, take care, and I'll catch you next time.